when the old guard doesn't want to retire and the new guard doesn't want to wait, you may have a conflict, a devastating one at that. This very fellowship timid toward day 3 of Yeshev, and he dwelt. Let's continue in Genesis, Bereshit, chapter 37. Excuse me. And in verse number 9 and following. And he, that is Joseph, dreamed still another dream and related it to his brothers and said, see, I've dreamed another dream, and see the sun and the moon and the 11 stars bow down to me. He related it to his father and his brothers. And his father rebuked him and said to him, what is this dream that you dreamed? Shall we, your mother and I and your brothers, indeed come and bow down to the earth before you? And his brothers envied him, but his father guarded the word. Now, things are about to get disastrous for Joseph, and his brothers are about to get some revenge on him. The storyline is not encouraging for him, at least for a while. Joseph is a born dreamer, but he is also a born leader. As we will see him develop in the pages to come, he exercises a great deal of wisdom. He has some sense of discipline about matters, organizational skills, administrative skills. He knows how to make things work effectively. That's good leadership. I saw a meme recently where it depicted a large block of stone or something being moved by ropes and human back labor, just a long line of humans with ropes attached to this huge block, and they were trying to move it. The meme was suggesting that the one who calls himself boss sits on top of the rope or on top of the block of stone and is hollering then at those that are pulling. A leader is the puller out front. So there is a difference between being the boss, the supervisor, and being the leader. If you are a leader and you walk out front and you have a clear goal and destiny and vision and dream in place, and you know that you're called and you're willing to spend the time and the discipline and the energy to get the thing done, there will be those who will co-see, they will co-adopt, they will follow along and say, this is a worthy goal and I'm willing to help you get this done because I see what you're trying to do and it's a good thing. If you change positions and say, well, y'all start doing the work and I'll stand behind you and crack the whip, you're going to lose momentum and nothing much is going to get accomplished. There has to be a willingness of hands-on involvement and direction by saying, follow me, I know where I'm going. Dr. Miles Monroe, many years ago, talked about a young man approaching a prospective wife, and he needed to declare his life goal, his life destiny, his vision, his dream, and the wife could choose whether or not, or the potential wife, whether she wanted to be a part of that or not. Now, if he just shows up with hearts and flowers and no dream, no vision, she's not a very wise person to say, well, I'll accept flowers, and because they're so pretty, I'll just tag along with you. Not a good choice. Hebraic roots community. What do we have, bosses or leaders? That's a hard one to answer. In many places, we lack effective leadership. It's a hard thing to be a leader. You have to be willing to hear the negative complaints in your ears. You have to be willing to suffer through some failed efforts. You have to be wise enough to only spend the change in your pocket, as John Maxwell has taught. You have to have some small successes, get some change in your pocket, but don't overspend. Don't spend it all at once. Don't bite off too big. A succession of small victories is very encouraging. So we have been, because of lack in leadership at times, not all places, but at times, we have been a resulting sheep wandering from mountaintop to mountaintop. And the result is sheep that are afraid and fighting for their lives and scattered, they fail to reproduce. So our numbers are puny. And one might think, well, we must be hundreds of thousands and maybe millions strong. Well, maybe a few tens of thousands, at least in the United States, and that's about it. Most of our congregations are 50 or less, and most of us are very much less than 50. It's hard to encourage people to come and participate where there are not a lot of programs for children and midweek discussion groups and discipleship studies and a building complex that includes a gym and fellowship halls and so forth. And a small congregation just can't afford all of that. And so we're at a disadvantage, at least in comparison to the more acceptable models of congregational life around us. The issue is that we have those that are indeed called. They are not seasoned. They're not matured. They're not developed in their disciplines so much. They know what they know, and they have an ability to communicate to some degree what they know, but they may lack what you can only achieve over a period of time, and that's good people skills. Inspiring people, loving on people, having an ability to adopt others' hurts and pains and get through them with them, ministering meaningfully with compassion to them, and then raising up other people to do the same. And another fault that I think has led to our Joseph syndrome here of, I've got a dream and I just can't wait to tell you about it, and instead of inspiring people, you alienate them. If we are only criticizing those that have gone before us because we don't like their methodology or we don't like their failures, and all of us are going to have failures, we're human. That just has to be an acceptable option there. That times are going to fail. And we're going to make poor choices. But you don't destroy someone because of a failed choice when so much of what they have done has been good and solid and productive and fruit-bearing. So when we throw stones and bombs and insults and barbs at those that have gone before us, and maybe they're not as successful as they once were, when you beat them up, then you're not causing the older flock to trust you instead. There's something called protocol, and there's something called showing honor, and there's something about having respect and asking questions from and learning from them. And it just might be that in the middle of their failures, they would tell you, this is what I did wrong. And this is what I would do, having hindsight that I would go back and I would do again, but in a different way. And from that, those that are younger can learn from those that are older. And in that also that way, those who are older can begin to redeem some of their failures by inspiring and correcting and mentoring the younger to achieve what they themselves failed to achieve. So you may have a coat, and it may be colorful. You may have a long list of anointed skills and callings and abilities, and that's wonderful. And we look for that, and we desire that, and we yearn for that. You don't immediately deserve a badge and a title, and you don't immediately get the front seat. But if we will pray and walk together, and one mentor and one learn, and then we partner our hands and our efforts to get some things done, the changing of the guard can be a little smoother, and lives can be blessed in the transition, in the kingdom of Yeshua can be rightly modeled before all who would be willing to look. More tomorrow. Until then, shalom.